Yeah. Stop.
We're
Trying to do
here.
my best northern accent.
I
Pinch my nose.
I didn't know that that's what you were doing.
I know I'm just really good at it. That's why.
Yeah. I mean, it sounded authentic, and
I did date a guy from Michigan once, so
well, that's all you need.
which is
Do your
the
Scottish accent now.
oh no. I can do a Michigan accent. It sounds a lot like you're talking really high up.
Yes.
It's a very nasally. And he came down to visit my parent or to visit Georgia, and hearing the conversation was a trip. Because my parents, like, my accent's mellowed because I've taught everywhere, but my
Yeah.
parents very much still sound like this when they talk, and so we had this really high, and then, well, that's real nice that you think that way. And I was just like, whoa, clash of cultures.
Seriously. That's funny. But I have a few friends who, for reasons I could not tell you, occasionally say words in a weird kind of North Dakota accent. And it's kind of hilarious, but
That's
like
kind of what I was emulating, I guess, was like
none of them are
our
from there. They're all from Colorado.
well, it's amazing though because I didn't pick up any Scottish accent at all, except
Yeah, same.
I say words sometimes, and
Yeah, occasional words or like slang
like
will come out.
phone, phone, phone,
Phone, phone,
phone.
girl, sometimes.
Yeah. So
Yep.
that'll come. I mean, I live with one, so that
Yeah.
makes sense. But the craziest thing, and I've noticed it even with Stuart, is when I am with people, they lean into the Southern accent really hard, and it's like kind of a slow descent. It's not like they immediately start talking to me, and I don't even have like. Imagine if someone was talking about mom, like mine's not even that crazy, but for some reason it that there it's a journey, and
I talked about this with Taylor when I was on Taylor's podcast, but I used to be very susceptible to picking up people's accents and
mm,
specifically Southern ones.
it's
And so my friend Julie, who lives just like 45 minutes south of me right now, she's from Florida.
yeah.
And she has because there is not a Southern accent in this region, but she has a shockingly Southern accent for I don't know what reason, but
Is she from Tampa?
she's from, well, Bradenton, but
Those
like it's Tampa Bay,
she should
which
not
does
have a
not have
Southern.
this accent, but she does. And we lived together for a year in Denver, and I it was like I couldn't control it. It just kept happening.
I also
I'm better now.
mine gets worse when I'm talking to my parents, clearly, or just
Yeah, I
generally
can
in the
imagine.
Georgia region.
Yeah.
And then also when I'm talking to other Southerners generally, but when I'm drinking, and so that may be the slow descent because I'm not conscious. I'm right now. I'm
When
conscious
you're like,
talking, but it's like
yeah, when you're like more relaxed and not like thinking through how you're talking,
right.
it's gonna come out. Yeah.
It is, and but now it comes kind of second nature to control it a little bit. But
Yeah.
back in the day, it wasn't. I will. I think I've talked about this to you before. I have one video of myself as a child, and it's awesome. And
I'm
I'm gonna record it and put it on
I was
the
gonna
thing.
say I need to see, I think we all need to see this, but I
I
especially
was
need to
having
see
my
this.
4th birthday at McDonald's, and I said I got a pound purry, which is the cat version of a pound puppy. So just so you know, that was always the case. That was
Oh
always a
my God, pound puppies. I had so many.
and I open it and I say in little Leah voice, "A pound purry. That's all that I ever wanted."
That's very cute.
It's so cute. Now, was a pound purry all that I ever wanted? I
No.
mean,
Maybe at that moment.
maybe at that moment, yeah, because
Yeah.
little Leah was also not very good at lying either, which didn't always work out for me. Some people think not lying is a virtue, but not when you're 4, I can tell you.
Not when you're opening presents.
Right. I opened a present for my grandma and it's closed, and I just hand it to my mom.
This is my most embarrassing present story. is that when it was my 16th birthday and I had, you
That's
know,
old to have a embarrassing story about presents.
I know, but I'm not a very good liar.
That's why we're friends. 'Cause come to
um,
tell
and I don't always, well, I think I think that people understand who I am a little better than maybe that was accurate, but
no.
so it's my 16th birthday party and like my friends are all there. We're at this lake and I am opening presents and I open this one and I'm almost positive I remember who gave it to me, but I'm not gonna like say, but the box
Don't
itself had a picture of, it was like this kind of, those like those foggy glass, like it's like the glass that's kind of like not quite see-through. It's that, but it's a lamp, but it's not a lamp you plug in, it's a lamp that you put like little tea candles, those little tea light candles in, and it's blue, and then there's like stickers of like puppies and kitties and stuff on this.
And you were
Okay.
sick. You were not 4, you were 16.
I was 16 and this
Woo.
is on the box. Okay. And I unwrap it and I see the box and I immediately started making fun of what I assumed was the box that held a different thing.
No,
Like,
Kristen,
when you put
no.
things in a box, yep. And
No.
I was like, "Oh my god, what if you gave me this?" And then it was that. Yeah.
How
Yep.
did you recover from that?
I
I
didn't.
am clutching my face like in
I
a
know. You
I
look
am.
like the puppet now.
Oh, I'm like the
Um,
puppet.
I didn't. I think that I had to just say, "I'm so sorry," and then I just
I would have been like, if the way
'cause
you're
what did you do?
I would have
I made fun of it for several sentences, like, and I was, like, laughing, and then it was that
literally
lamp.
I would have taken it back and been like, "Well, I'm not gonna waste my money on you." Like,
I mean, that would have been fair. Except
it would have been
also,
fair.
please think about your reaction as I described it, and you said you were 16 and not 4. Like, it was a really bad present. It was like, truly a bad present, but
Just let
I
it be
also made fun of it. It
just
just
let it be
right
known
there.
too, if y'all rewind, she said, "Fair." That's fair.
So maybe it still happens.
Maybe it still happens. That's one of the cringiest
Mhm.
stories about a present, I think.
Yep. Now, if you watch me open presents, ever since then, I've been very careful to actually, like, lay eyes on the present itself before assuming anything
Or
about
maybe
the
just
box.
don't make fun of people who are giving you presents, just so, like, as a rule.
Well, you know how some, like, I don't know if
No.
this was a big
I'm just
thing that
gonna
you
go
grew
ahead
up
and
with,
say no.
where people would put your present in a box that wasn't the
Sure.
correct box,
And I don't
right?
you don't make fun, you just
Well,
open
but
the box.
but my brothers would do it. They would give you, like, boxes of, like, weird stuff, like
Yeah, your family sounds like they are constantly crapping on each other. Like, I that's not how humans work.
I just thought that it was like, "Haha, I'm gonna make her think that I'm giving her this very terrible
Well,
present."
have you done it since?
No,
Mm. We learned
as
a valuable lesson that day. So cringe. Oh my god. My grandma, my paternal grandma used to get me, like, in latter life, like, 16,
Yeah.
she would get me Victoria's Secret stuff, like, 'cause she liked to watch me freak out. 'Cause, like, my brother was there and he was, like, 12, and my dad, who's
That's
just
amazing.
never
Yeah.
wants to think about me ever in any
Mm-mm.
way like that, and she'd get me, like, thongs and stuff, and
Oh
she'd
my
make
god.
me at Christmas, she'd make
She'd
me
make you
hold
hold it up.
she'd, like, show everybody.
Show everybody what I got
Yeah,
you. See, this is the same
exactly.
energy as my brothers.
She would have eviscerated your bro and she wouldn't even have cared 'cause
Oh, yeah.
but
No, I mean,
she was yeah, no, she would have fit in with the Whaleys.
yeah.
She'd be like and then she would cackle just like
That's awesome.
my little virgin self, like, anyway, thanks, grandma.
Oh my gosh.
They got used later on, so it's fine.
Oh, well, that's good. That's good.
Mhm.
Hey, welcome to Theology on the Rocks.
where we talk about underwear. And
What?
actually today, we might do
And it's a good segue because today is it's our start of our summer series, the
it
summer
is
of
the
rejection.
summer of rejection.
I'm so excited.
Not to be confused with the summer of touching grass.
Also, we want to stress the importance of touching grass.
In the midst
Um,
of such dark times. However you interpret that is valid. Um,
so to celebrate, we're having a fancy drink. We're having French 75s.
which I sure didn't make at all. So I don't know what's in it. No, I didn't make it. It exists. I didn't make it for myself.
Oh, did Stuart make it for you?
Yeah,
Yeah,
100%.
okay. It's gin and
It's gin
spark sparkling wine of some kind.
and lime juice, lemon juice,
Lemon
and
juice
purple.
and simple syrup. You can
Pretty sure you
yeah,
probably use sugar.
you can also I was gonna say you can also use sugar instead of simple syrup, but I used simple syrup.
Comes to
Um, I
so
also used lemon flavored gin, so it's got like
you're really gonna have heartburn after
that's why I take my meds.
that. So this is the start of our summer series, and we're this today. I'm gonna do a paper I submitted this year to AAR. I have to
I'm so
read
excited.
her. I'm gonna just read the little blurb, because I I oh no, oh no, where did it go?
Did you lose it?
You just
I
sent it.
was very excited for this paper, and I really
So
thought that it would've
me too. So the call here is, and we're going to do papers that we would have given, but also we're going
yeah,
to tell you a little bit about the process of writing them.
yeah,
So the paper that I'm going to give, I guess you'll go next. So in 2 weeks' time, um, it
yes.
it was never going to get accepted, and I
No,
knew
it was not.
it was more of a sales piece. Um,
Leah was having a moment.
I was having a moment, and honestly, I don't at all like regret the moment because the moment still exists. But it was certainly a moment. And so they rejected that quick and hard. And sometimes, especially when you're later on in your career, you will like have moments and you just decide to do it.
Yeah.
Um, this one was not a moment. This was
No,
a
this was a
this is
really
and the
good
more that I've read of Marcella, the more I'm like, this would have been perfect actually.
yeah.
Because she talks a lot about this stuff.
I'm really I mean this in all sincerity, I'm really sad that it didn't get accepted, and I feel like whatever is gonna happen at this panel is not gonna be as good unless somebody had the exact same idea as you, which
I
would be shocking.
here is the issue too. You have to know who you're submitting it to, and I don't think a lot of people lead with an air of suspicion about AR because it's so big, and it's
But
true. Like for every unit you apply to or put a paper proposal in, there's probably about like 200
there
people
can
who
be,
apply.
yeah, can be up to that, yeah.
Here's
Especially this one, this is a big one.
Yeah, Boston's
This
always a
unit.
big draw.
Oh,
Um,
I meant the unit, the religion and pop
oh,
culture unit it's a
that was my
yeah,
second point is that also the units, if they have more than one call for papers or different things that are just wildly diverse,
mhm,
it's tough because you have to get enough people to make a coherent unit. And this was the pop culture and religion group, I believe.
yes,
And they
yes.
had like 5 like wildly different topics.
They always do, yeah.
One of which was Rocky Horror because it's the Mm,
50th?
50th anniversary. I
Yeah,
just said 20th the other day, and you're like, "No, that's not right." 50th anniversary. And so they invited papers on Rocky Horror. So of course
yeah,
I did that because I'm very much obsessed with Rocky Horror Picture Show.
yeah.
You applied to something. They had something else, didn't they?
They
Or
did. They're also the unit that I did the Buffy paper with.
right.
The 25th anniversary of Buffy a couple of years ago is the panel that I was able to give that paper on. So they tend to do these kind of pop culture anniversary things.
Mm,
Um,
but like,
but what I noticed with that one is that the other people presenting were heavier or were not or they were not religion scholars. They were
mm,
film scholars that because AAR like primarily is religion scholars of various sorts, but occasionally we'll get scholars from different fields like film or literature or science even that come in. And that was what happened on my panel is that it was mostly people who were film scholars and like or media scholars. And so I was the only one that did something really specific about theology. And theirs was all focused on like film aspects or social aspects, or things like that. And that could possibly be part of this one as
But
well.
they
But
were all Buffy people, and that's
they
some
were all Buffy people,
so
yeah.
that whole panel probably had about maybe 4 calls, and I don't know, I'm guessing 4 or 5 calls is usually average for
Yeah.
some and then with pop culture, it seems like they picked 1 strand, unless the whole thing was Buffy, I don't know, maybe the whole thing was Buffy. This time around
No, I think they give from what I can tell, because this is one that I've applied to a few times this year included.
mhm,
And it also did not get accepted this year. Um, they put out 4 or 5 calls on so it's like Rocky Horror. There was the call for the one I did, which I'm really struggling right now to remember what it was. It's like the specific call was for, but it was um sometimes they'll ask for like current literature and a kind of religious bent on
yeah,
current literature. So they'll have those and then I don't know how and then they always have a kind of broad like and any other ideas that you have in relationship to the overall theme of the year. And so I mean they just get a ton and then I don't think that they always have all of those panels.
right.
Like
Yeah, that's what
they
I'm
don't
saying,
all yeah.
is that the panels like I am currently president-elect for AR Southeast, which is hilarious because I can't log into AR right now. And I'm the president-elect of one of the regions, but whatever. Like, that's the reason why. Maybe they don't
You know
want me.
what? They're really helpful customer service people. I
Okay.
learned that when I accidentally had 2 AAR accounts and they had to merge them into one. Um,
Well, I don't know what's going on. It could be that as well,
yeah.
because I moved universities. But anyway,
Mhm.
so I have my program unit for AR Southeast is Religion in the American South. And I have a couple calls, probably about 5 actually, and then a co-sponsored panel as well, which is a different kettle of fish altogether. But you do have to make it kind of make sense. Like I don't,
Yeah,
maybe not as much as the pop culture where you have to be like, we're going to do one TV show or we're going to pick one thing.
right.
My guess is they had an overwhelming amount of good papers for Buffy, and they just were like, this is going to be a Buffy panel. Now I don't know, but um, if I get a whole bunch of papers about like one call and a lot of them are very good, and then there's some very good sporadic ones too. I probably am gonna go with that coherent call.
Yeah.
That makes sense.
Yeah, I mean, trying to tie all of your presenters together and have it like an overall theme, I think is always something that they want to do for those panels because then you can have a better Q&A at the end.
Yeah,
And you're gonna attract a like more specific group of audience too, I think.
yeah.
Um,
So this
but
one, I didn't feel that bad about. But and honestly, I will say too, if you're starting off putting papers in, every rejection is gonna feel terrible, and then you're gonna get older, and it's just gonna be a part of your life.
yeah,
An
yeah.
older academic, like,
It's true. Well, and two, sometimes you just start to realize like go I think the thing that I do is to go to the panels that I submitted to
mhm,
but didn't get accepted because then you can see like why maybe you can get a sense of what kinds of papers they were looking for or whatever. And that can be helpful too, because then you can kind of start to realize like how to submit proposals or like if I'm going to submit to the systematic theology panel, I have to do very different things than if I'm going to submit to the arts and literature panel. And like,
yeah, and
let it be said,
we
I've
talked about
never,
this last week too,
yeah.
is you have to know your audience, and then
Yeah.
sometimes even if you do know your audience, it's not going to I mean,
So, yeah.
my first acceptance at AR was the Gay Men in Religion
Yep.
unit, not practical theology, and I was like, "Hmm, who would have thought?" But as I was reading Marcella today, a guy was talking about that she was usually front row at the Gay Men in Religion unit at AR, and I had a
Oh,
little moment because I
oh,
was,
that's very sweet.
yeah,
She was there in spirit.
she was there in spirit, and
Yeah.
now I'm writing, and so, um, anyway, so
Okay, so
I'm gonna
tell
give
us.
you,
Yep.
this is just like 3 paragraphs. So this paper was called Theology and Fetish Boots, which was a book that was a dedication to Marcella Althaus-Reid. It was a collection of essays. So Theology and Fetish Boots, Marcella Althaus-Reid, and the Rocky Horror Picture Show. You gotta have a colon in there,
Yep.
or colon if you are of the British persuasion. So Marcella Althaus-Reid was a Scottish theologian who wrote about her experiences as a bisexual Latina woman who researched and taught at one of the most prestigious institutions in the world. She wrote scathing reviews of Reformed theology and liberation theology for its lack of inclusion, and indeed its exclusion of people through seeming acceptance. She was a powerhouse of theology, and she was gone from us too quickly. What is oftentimes overlooked about Reid is what she created in the spaces she occupied, theologically and physically. She wrote about theology as sexuality like it was a given, and for many of us who suffered through the purity culture of the 1990s, it was. She gave a space for people to hold their rosary and their pictures of their partners tight, all while dancing the night away in fetish boots. She offered a safe academic space at Edinburgh University for people who felt as though they had no place where they could express what they were experiencing and love God at the same time. When she passed, she was memorialized at the school, but some feel as though there is a desire to make her memory a, quote, cult following, as it were. I remember the first time I put on that corset and fishnets. I was a seminary student in Atlanta, and I'd just emerged from a tiny little Southern Baptist bubble. I went to a dingy midnight showing of Rocky Horror Picture Show and watched the most beautiful man I've ever seen dance across the stage in high heels. I sang Time Warp over and over. I threw popcorn and shouted slut at the top of my lungs. I cried and I laughed, and I felt extreme, powerful, and divine love like I had never felt in the confines of the church. So, and it goes on and on, but I just wanted to read that part.
Yeah.
So the paper was really going to be, well, it started off as going to be just a dedication to her and how the Rocky Horror Picture Show would have responded to her. But as I read, she writes so much about uh, people who have been um, basically marginalized in society for a variety of reasons, not just sexuality. So she comes from the liberation side of the theological spectrum, but she's highly critical of it because she says that the people who did it have now become consumable, and they're now a part of the system that they wanted
Mhm.
to fight against. And so uh, she calls all of that kind of theology that's accepted by the systems as decent theology. And so she says she does indecent theology. And she wants to be on the cutting edge of this world. And I'll go more into her theological stuff in a minute. But I do want to, some of you have not seen Rocky Horror Picture Show, and I think it's really important to actually, her stuff is really heady and we got to kind of dig in a little bit. But with the Rocky Horror Picture Show, um, it's not heady at all. So, um, oh, I need to Google his name. You don't know this, I'm sure. But the Rocky Horror Picture Show is basically a brainchild of this British composer, and I'm gonna look him up. And he's in it. He plays Riff Raff. He plays one of the servants in it.
Oh,
Um,
okay. I didn't know that. Yeah.
yeah, but he wrote the whole score and the songs in it. If you are a fan of musical theater, like the song Richard O'Brien, and it just came to me, Richard O'Brien. So he plays Riff Raff in it, and he basically wrote this musical, and it's amazing. Like Time Warp classic. You get
Mhm.
Meatloaf in there singing Hot Patootie. Bless my soul. I
Oh,
really
yep.
love that rock and roll. So anyway, the premise of the story is you get Susan Sarandon and man, who I can't remember his name. Sorry to that man. But they get um
It's a
this,
Baldwin, isn't it?
huh?
Is it
No,
Alec No.
he looks like one, but he's just a man. He's a man.
He's famous. I'm gonna come up with this. It's
He's
okay.
not.
You keep
I don't
talking.
think he
No,
is.
he is.
Susan Sarandon. Okay,
Susan Sarandon. Yeah.
who is arguably famous.
She is, yes.
She is. That starts with the marriage of those two. So they get, or no, sorry. at another wedding, and she catches the bouquet, and they're gonna get married. They get engaged. They go
Yeah.
on this trip back to wherever their home is, and they get a flat tire,
Mhm.
and they basically find this mansion, and they go to the mansion to try to call a uh, mechanic.
Can you tell us, like, roughly what year it's taking place in?
So this is an interesting part about the Rocky Horror Picture Show. I think they didn't want a year to
Okay.
exist. I think they wanted it to be kind of a timeless thing. And there is one little flaw in that. And if you're obsessed with the show, you'll know as they're driving, good timing, by the way, with the question, as they're driving and they get the flat, you can hear Richard Nixon on the radio.
Oh, okay.
So, but other than that, there's
I
nothing.
mean, yeah,
Like, you could say
there's, like,
fashion, but I mean, whatever, like, it
fashion or technology kind of clue you into some of it,
a
but
little bit, but it becomes very, sort of science fiction-y where you don't
yes.
really know, like, there's
Yeah,
TVs, he'll pull a lever and, like, the TV,
right.
like,
I mean,
rotates or something, like
it kind of ends up like, when does Star Wars take place? I don't
right.
know. You know, like
If
yeah.
not for Richard Nixon's voice, and I'm not really sure why O'Brien left that in, he's criticizing I think counterculture, which is probably why I need to go back to make sure that's right, but I'm pretty sure that's probably why I left it in because he wanted to make a statement about that. Um, which to Nixon was really anything like having long hair was counterculture or whatever.
Yeah.
But but what he did, unfortunately, is he did place it in a time and place because of that. Although it could be an NPR recording of British or Nixon, who knows? But anyway. I digress. So they go to the house, and the house, they're greeted by many a creepy and weird human, mostly creepy at this stage. And then, of course, you get the grand entrance. There's a party taking place. You get the grand entrance of Tim Curry as Dr. Frankenfurter, and you got caught with a flat. How about that? I'll call you a satanic mechanic. And Tim Curry is just epically good in this.
Uh,
Like, there's no
yes,
like, and if
yes,
you hear him talk, he's actually quite soft spoken and he sort of talks like this. And then he puts on those heels and he is just like on the go. And
yeah.
he's a
He's a phenomenal actor.
oh my gosh, phenomenal. And in this, and you like, I don't know anyone who's watched that and been like, no, no, I'm not attracted to that man. Even like straightest straight men I know will look at that and be like, hmm, hmm. Maybe. Um, but anyway, he's a sweet transvestite, which I know we don't use that language, although I'm not really sure I know what the PC language is for male dresses female. Because I don't think we say
I
cross
mean,
either.
drag drag queen? I don't know. But you know what? It's transvestite in the film,
It is.
and
He sings
yeah,
about it. So
yeah.
I'm honoring his words. And Richard O'Brien's words. So anyway, he's making a man handsome with a tan, and he's creating this person. So wait, basically, Susan Sarandon and her guy are both very square. His name is Brad. She's Janet. They're both very square and very like straight laced. And as the movie progresses, they get very influenced by these very sexually, confident people. They think, spoiler, they're aliens. Um,
People.
they're people. They're still people. Oh yeah,
Ish, yeah.
you went on the aliens. No, these are actual aliens from outer space. they're outer space people.
They
Is
are
what
outer space, the extraterrestrials.
they're
Yes.
extraterrestrials. They're beyond our terrestrial. They start
But
to
we
be.
don't know that yet. Yeah.
You don't know that till the end, basically. But I mean, this movie was out in the 70s, so sorry. But yeah, so they are essentially influenced by these extraterrestrials, and they start to see themselves changing and becoming more like the extraterrestrials and less like themselves, or who they thought they were, I would say.
Mhm.
by the end, the extraterrestrials go back to their home planet, and Brad and Janet are left in a field to whatever comes next.
to
Their eyes
like,
have been
who
opened.
are you now?
Who are
Because,
you now? Yeah,
you know, a lot of sex has been had
with
with a lot of
everybody,
various people, and
various genders, I should say.
yeah, various genders, and a lot of like challenges to their new engaged relationship. Yeah, I
And
mean,
they both lose their virginity because she says, "I was
yeah,
saving myself,"
a
and
lot of like identity stuff happens. Yeah.
he goes, "Well, I don't think you're quite spent yet." Just some one-liners from Tom Cruise. And then
So many, yeah.
he goes to Brad's room. I was saving myself. So there's a lot of, it's just very that, and then she ends up having sex with the monster, the quote monster he created, his creation, and like
Rocky.
Rocky, who, mm-hmm,
Mhm.
blonde man
Um,
tan.
yeah.
Anyway, so they, but you're really left with the question at the end of um, what will become of those two now that
Yep.
this has happened. So to tie it into Marcella's work is that she talked a lot about this sort of stuff actually, and I got really annoyed today as I was reading it. I was like, "Damn it, this would have been a great paper." Because I know Marcella very well. I know the Rocky Horror Picture Show excellent, PhD worthy. I can tell you. Um,
Yes.
except for Brad's name. Sorry, Brad.
I still think
I'll
that
Google it.
he's famous. We're gonna
I
find
don't
it out.
think he is. I don't think he was in anything else because they're doing a convention in Raleigh, and both him and Susan Sarandon are going to be there. And I was like, I mean, maybe I might
Or
go.
you know what? I think he was in, okay, Google his name because I definitely know him from other stuff as well. Um, but I'm wondering if the other stuff he was in was like
Oh,
Family
he
Ties
is
or something.
famous.
He is famous. See, I told, who is it?
Wait,
Why
what?
can't I think of his name? He's just like a random white dude.
Oh gosh. Wait. Wait, just keeps telling me his name is Brad Majors, which I know. I know. And he's married to Janet Weiss, which is Susan Sarandon. Yes, I'm aware. I
Yes,
Googled
that part we've
who
got.
played who played Brad. Look at this AI bullshit. They act like
Oh
it's gonna
God.
take over the world. Who
It
played?
can't even tell you what time it is. So
It says Barry Bostwick, who is
yes, Barry Bostwick was he is in a lot of other stuff. He was in a TV show,
he was
not not Family Ties, but it was something else.
the robber bridegroom.
No, it was a TV it was like a big deal in the 90s. He was a dad, and then he's in a bunch of stuff. Like he is famous. I know him very well.
I'm really glad
I
for you.
just can't remember any of the
You know
things that
him
he's in.
so well. Oh, he was in Charlie's Angels in the '70s, which is
Yes.
basically when you were born. So
Yes, I was alive during
fine.
that. Yep, mhm.
So I'm surprised you haven't seen Rocky Horror because of that. So,
I have seen Rocky Horror. I just
well, not.
I'm not as yeah, but, um
So yeah. So then she really. So Marcella, I knew from Edinburgh when I got there, she was very sick, so she wasn't around a whole bunch. But she created sort of this bubble. Um, with my supervisor Cecilia, they were very good friends, very, very, very
Mhm,
good friends, and they had this little corner that was really unusual at Edinburgh because um, they were women doing theology, but they were doing practical theology. They were doing, I think her official role was contextual theology, and we'll talk about the problems with that
mhm,
soon because she really gets mad about that word. Um, but they were just doing stuff that other people weren't doing, and as a result, they kind of gathered this group of misfits, including
mhm,
myself
mhm.
who are not doing the brown shoe stuff of reformed
Yes.
theology. Um, or even now we've deemed the process people as blue shoes.
Yes, process people, you have a shoe color, it's blue. We're calling you blue shoes.
Oh, you blue shoes. You need to calm down. Anyway, back to the story. So, Marcel oh no, the gin's kicking in.
Legit. I mean, these are
We
good.
done the theology part first and the
We
Rocky
have to
Horror.
get to. You have to.
Yeah,
We're gonna make it.
yeah. So, um, she wrote several books. One, The Queer God, Indecent Theology. Those two are probably her most, I would say, famous texts.
Yes.
And in them, she really begins talking about. She criticizes queer theology as well as liberate, but she really goes for liberation theology because she's coming from the Latin American context. She's from
Hmm.
Argentina, and so she's bisexual. So
Hmm.
she really has this idea that even liberation theology has basically been kind of whitewashed in a way, or become decent. It's
Yes.
become it's not counterculture anymore, and it doesn't represent the people that it thinks it represents. So she's all about these worlds that we have created are so anti-sex. So a lot of times people read her stuff and get really kind of bothered by it, and I know she would oftentimes write and say, "Why are you so bothered?
Hmm.
Why does this bother you?" Because we are sexual beings, we are born sexual beings. There is a reason why the biggest controversies right now in the US, well, I would say prior to people being deported and treated like absolute garbage, which they are not, was sexual and body related. And
Yeah.
she talks about Jesus, the queer God, that Jesus came into a body that for some reason we have now made not sexual. He doesn't have sex. He doesn't have a relationship. He is not even embodied.
Hmm.
Really, he's some sort of extraterrestrial,
Yeah.
except that he's not. He
Yeah.
dies on a cross, so he clearly had a human body.
Yep.
And so she says, we don't have to be obsessed with sex, but we also, decent theology seems to completely reject any aspect of any talk about bodies or sex or gender or anything, sexuality or gender or anything like that. And she says that's just not the reality of the world. That's not how the world works. That's not, there's a reason why, you know, we have the divorce rate we do, or we have these, certain anyway, there's reasons why things happen, I'll
Yep.
say, in the
Yeah.
world related to sex.
Hmm.
And it's because, we are sexual beings. We're born that way. And so, I think with the Rocky Horror Picture Show, you get this idea that Brad and Janet have basically bought in to this decent theology. They're going to be good people. They are nice, and they're, you know, he got her the ring, and they're saving themselves and all of this sort of stuff.
Hmm.
And then they meet all these people who have been sexually freed in a way. They've been liberated, if you want to use that language. And they are at first horrified, and then very slowly or actually quite quickly, I will say, it's
Quite
not
quickly. It
like
is pretty
a
quick.
night,
Yeah.
like a night.
It's one
They're
night. Yeah.
Yeah, they are basically brought into this world, and instead of feeling ashamed of themselves, because they start out, I think it's very telling, they're in like a bra and underwear and they're like covering up. By the end, they're
Hmm.
just walking around
Yeah.
because they don't even care anymore. And it's
Yeah.
like once you see and you become a part of this sort of community that is accepting that this is our body and our being, then it changes things. And I think that's why I talk autoethnographically about my time of going in Atlanta to see Rocky Horror for the first time. And that was my first time ever. And there was a man, probably like a 6'6" African American man in heels. That's before the heels, and just like strutting across the stage. And I remember thinking, oh my gosh, this is amazing. And people were yelling at the screen. It was a midnight screening. So you get this sort of cult following with Rocky Horror that
Mm-hmm.
happens much like you get with Marcella. And it created a community where people just felt free to, talk about this kind of stuff. And
Yeah.
it's one of those things where I always talk about, if I wear a push-up bra at, AR or beer camp and that offends you, that's you. That's not
Yeah.
really me. Like I was born with this.
Yeah.
Honestly,
This is.
if I didn't wear a push-up bra, you'd probably be offended. Just CC.
You don't need it.
I don't, not that I would. Yeah, I don't need it. But I mean, I'm just saying, she really dives into that sort of stuff and says, who are we excluding, and what percentage of the population are we actually excluding here? Because
Mhm.
if you think it's just people who associate with the queer community, she's like, no, these are poor people too. These are
Yep.
people who are marginalized for a myriad of things. Because she talks a lot about how the poor are often, at least in Latin America, are portrayed as being seen as sexually promiscuous or indecent because of what they wear
Yes.
or what they don't wear, and how they behave. They don't behave, and you start to realize that actually, quote unquote, behaving decently is really a socioeconomic thing too.
Mhm.
It's you are, quote, my mom would say, raised right. She was raised right.
Yeah.
Well,
Yeah.
being raised right is not is monetary as well, because you can't, it just is the way that it is, and you have to wear the dresses, and you have to know what you're supposed to do, and
Mhm.
a lot of that comes with
Yeah.
what to do, what society wants you to do. So that, I mean, I've I can keep going, but I that was a 40-minute spiel, so I mean,
I no, I
good
think that it's great.
preparation.
I'm not nearly as familiar with Marcella as though I did use a little bit of her work um in my research, specifically because she does talk a bit about sex workers,
Yes, sure. Yep.
and because my his Jean Reese's characters are all pseudo
Yeah.
sex workers, so there was a good bit of crossover for understanding. And I think that there were a couple of things that I really appreciated about Marcella's work. One of them, and you've touched on this a little bit, but she and I know it's like it's a very quotable and it's like a brilliant line, but it's about doing theology in your underwear.
Hmm.
And she talks a lot about like needing us in the academy, liberation theologians, all of it, needing to remove those boundaries and to go listen to the theology of the sex workers and to
Yep.
say, like, they're the ones that are doing the theology. They're living out these understandings of what it means to be human and what it means to believe in God in these settings that, especially like you said, liberation theology is talking about. They're the ones doing it. And so we should be listening to them. We should be kind of elevating their voices. And I really appreciated that aspect of her work specifically.
Yeah.
Um, and I
Especially
also,
she was in the practical theology corner. I mean, I don't know that
yeah,
she would have necessarily said that, but um, she was all about the lived religion of people.
yeah, it's about not just about like how much do you know about said topic, but what does it mean to the actual people you're actually talking about, right? Not just theoretical. What does it mean in the spaces that you often look down upon too? Which I think, especially in the academy, especially in the Western Academy, we have a tendency to rank intellects,
Yep.
right? Like the philosophy from Europe
Hmm.
tends to be ranked higher than philosophies from elsewhere or even time periods, right? We elevate certain time periods. And she's like, we need to go to those people that you're looking down on and hear what they're doing or saying or thinking because they're the ones living it out. And I
Yeah,
I
even
really
if
liked
they're
that.
even, quote unquote, if they're sex workers, or even if,
Yes, but even especially if they're sex work,
especially,
they're
yeah.
doing stuff that makes you uncomfortable, you know, and
Right.
you delegitimize their life, then go listen to them. And I think, like you said, especially in this day and age, like we're having this whole ish, like how uh trans people are kind of used as a scapegoat for both parties,
Mm,
Republicans and Democrats, and like Republicans are like, you know, trans people are ruining the country, and Democrats are like, trans people are a distraction. Let's not talk about it. You know, and like either way, we're not really listening to what they have to say about their own lives or how they understand, you know, politics or theology or what have you. Like we still need to listen to those people. We need to let those voices take over a little bit more.
and I think that's sort of my frustration sometimes when I go to, or I look at the practical theology call, the unit, and I don't whoever's listening, I would tell you this to your face. It's oftentimes a lot about fuck Carl Hart.
We would, yeah.
Um, but it's oftentimes about like education and pedagogy. And while I think that's
Mhm.
important, one, it really reflects the American understanding of practical theology, but also there are a lot more things going on in the world right now that we could be talking about as
Yeah,
a PT unit. And education is super important, but I mean, to see it almost every year on their call, I'm like, what about the world? We're supposed to be
yeah,
talking about lived theology, like theology in the world. And that's when I realized, again, my I joke about the PT unit at AR. Those people who are looking at those papers maybe are not the ones, I put in ones to them every year. And that one year I got accepted, I put one into gay men and religion, and the practical theology unit immediately rejected practical theology, made it to the gay men and religion unit. And I think
oh,
that's the thing is that, you have to know what unit or what your particular unit, even if, because I'm a European practical theologian, which is not the same as what's happening in that unit right now.
yeah, yeah.
And you have to kind of see who your audience is for that. But I
I
think
think sorry, go ahead.
no, I think Marcella, to tie it in, picked up on that because she talked about geography, and it's why she pushed back against the contextual theology title that she held, because she was like, all theology is contextual, which of course, no shock there that I like that, but it is true. I mean, you know, there is a section on the newest contextual theology or liberation theology book on white theology, white European theology.
Which is what we should call it, because it is.
Yeah, it
And
is.
it doesn't mean it's bad. I'm not
No.
like down, I read I would say mostly white European theology, and I really love a lot of it, but understanding that that's where it's coming from is essential to understanding the theology and to understanding why it's different from something else, or why,
And to some degree,
you
it's
know.
very challenging for us because in me, like I every time I read her, I get challenged. I don't agree
Mhm.
with everything she says, so I'm not a blanket sort of apologist for her.
No.
But
Yeah,
I mean,
same.
I think I really hate the dashes that she uses. So she'll
Yeah.
use like disgrace and then put a dash in between dis and grace. And I get what she's trying to say, but it happens often. And
It does happen
I don't
often. Yeah.
it's not my favorite. Anyway, this is not, we all have critiques of each other. This is how
Mhm.
theology is supposed to work. But
Yes.
she certainly had issues with the institutionalization of theology and how even this sort of cutting edge, small groups of theologians, like practical theologians, in the beginning, like process theologians, like liberation theologians, these people who thought they were being quite countercultural can quickly become the establishment. And
Yeah.
she calls out feminist theologians as well for that.
Yep.
And
Yep.
even her own theology, she reflects and says it will become institutionalized as well.
Yes.
Um,
Yeah.
if left to the academy, and not,
Correct. Yeah.
you know, so I think she really showed a lot of the value of constructive theology and ethnography and going out and talking to people, which I really take on board. She has a portrait at New College in Edinburgh, and we'll put it up because all of the other portraits are these mostly men in like their PhD get up, sitting like this, very not smiling,
Very serious, like
very serious.
not
And
smiling. Yeah.
hers is like this artistic, like creative. She's in front of a chalkboard and like she's standing in a regular outfit. Her hair is kind of wild and
Yeah.
this is such a lovely picture. And I remember they debated. It was Women's Appreciation something
Mhm.
celebration. I don't know. It's CUK. I forget. But they renamed two of the rooms. Elizabeth Templeton, who I will talk about because I've written a paper that got rejection on Elizabeth Templeton too, and the Althaus-Reid room, and that was our
Mm.
big lecture hall, which is now the biggest lecture hall at New College is the Althaus-Reid room.
That's
Um,
awesome. That's
yeah.
awesome. I
So.
think that to kind of circle back to Rocky Horror with her as well,
Mhm.
when I the first time I went to Rocky Horror was my freshman year of college.
Mhm.
And I went with I had 3 roommates, and one of them had been to Rocky Horror before, and
Was it like a
the
midnight showing or just like a regular showing?
it was I mean, it was like it was the whole thing, where you have the movie playing and then you
Right.
have the
People are acting
actors
it out. Yeah, yeah.
and you dress up and throw the popcorn or throw the toilet paper or throw whatever, and scream. It was all of that, but it was on my college campus. It was
God bless those
sponsored.
movie theater workers after the show.
It was in the UC, the University Center ballroom, which
Oh,
is where I also
yeah.
we had many concerts. I saw Maroon 5 there. Um, so it was in that ballroom. So my roommate was like, we're gonna go to this, and we were like, okay, we had no idea what to expect. Um, I had been at a Christian school from preschool to 12th grade. So like just, be aware that I have no idea
Mm.
about any of this. And she got us all dressed up, and then she told us that if anybody asked if we were virgins to just say no, or else they're going to write a V on your head and you get kind of like called out repeatedly. And she gave us like little things that we could say so that if they like when was your first or whatever,
I
so
love that you got prepped for
we
back.
got prepped. Yep. And so we didn't get the V's on our heads, and which I'm forever grateful for because I would have been mortified. I would have handled it better today, but back then little 18-year-old Christy would not have been able.
Well,
um but I just
probably a reason
remember
for that. Probably that V is the reason for
I remember it being I was like, what is this? And it was fun and it was loud and it was carefree, and it was obviously old, right? Like it's from the 70s. You know, this was not the 70s when I was in college. So like it
you.
was obviously old, but like um it it was this kind of like free exciting thing, and I feel like that party and that freedom and that everybody is contributing, because this is the other thing. I have also been to a Rocky Horror showing that was not the movie. It was a play, like you would go see a normal play,
Yep.
and we were instructed beforehand that this was not one that allowed audience participation. And
Oh,
and so like you had to just sit, and my niece was in the band, and so like I was there to support her, and she'd kind of told me this beforehand, but I
people
just remember being
stay quiet.
not 100%. Like there were definitely some, but like they were like, don't, because there's no like at one of the cult showings, you have the movie playing and then you have people who are acting it out, but they're like also doing the like audience participation parts too.
Yeah.
And this was just actors. Like this was like a normal theater thing. It just happened to be Rocky Horror, and it was so different. And I love my niece and she did a great job, but I hated it.
Yeah.
I was like, this is supposed to be audience participation, right? Like you're supposed to be part of it. It's supposed to be this big, fun, free for all thing. Also, conversely, one time I just watched Rocky Horror at home, and that was weird, and I don't recommend it.
It sounds like it's church.
So I feel like what I hear when I read Marcella is very similar to what I hear when I'm experiencing is that it's supposed to be for everyone. We have people who can help lead and teach you what to say and give you pointers and all of that. But like you are supposed to be part of this, and your voices matter, and like it's a very
So free. Like
yeah, it's a very free,
it is. Like a lot of people
fun,
criticize Marcella the same way they criticize Rocky Horror, which is like, why do you talk about sex? Why do you dress up
right?
in fishnets? Why? Because why does it bother you? Why?
Yeah, like what
Because you've taken some verses. There's plenty of verses. How many verses about loving your neighbor and and the stuff about people being deported in our country right now, we're not taking that seriously. So,
Yeah.
or
How
shrimp
like
or leather or crops. So why are you taking all of this
we
stuff
put braids in our hair all the time. We're not
all the freaking time?
throwing away our gold
On
jewelry.
about
Yeah.
Mary and how weird a story that is, and we just gloss the heck over it.
Mhm.
Mary, as a person who holds the baby Jesus in her body and is
Mhm.
supposed to have been knocked up by God. God is God. God essentially could have just put a baby in a basket somewhere, a la, why does it, what
Well,
is,
and
and I
I
don't
want
care how orthodox you are, that's weird.
it's
When
weird, but I also wanna go back to, and I know I've told this story on this podcast before, but when I was in my Christology class and it was me and all guys, and my professor was like, "We have to be able to say that Jesus was human in everything, and that includes sexuality. Jesus had a penis, and it probably worked, and here's what puberty would have looked like, and these things would have happened to him as well, you know."
and all these
And
female
was it
characters,
a horrifying class for me? Yes, but was it also incredibly eye-opening and, like, important? And I when I teach systematic theology, I don't talk about the penis, but I do say that Jesus pooped. And I'm here to tell you that the looks of horror are the same. My students do not like hearing that Jesus pooped.
one of my good friends that I work at the bar with, she's a little bit younger than me. She's an ASL teacher, and she's going to a conference. It's the first conference she's been to. So she called me today, and she said, "What do I wear? I don't know what
Yeah,
to wear." You know,
yeah,
because when she's in school, she wears just like jeans. And,
whatever, yeah,
yeah, and then she works at the bar. She wears whatever.
yeah.
And I said, she goes, I just have these jackets and these black pants. And I told her, I said, dress like you're going to church. And she goes, I don't know what that means. I didn't grow up in the church. And I said, it's like you want to look like you don't have any sexual organs whatsoever.
Yeah.
I literally said that to a human being today. And she goes, I've got you. I got it. I got it. And then she goes, can I wear a skirt and heels? I said, well, do you have tights? And she was like, I don't know, maybe. And she goes, do I need tights? And I was like, yeah. And then as soon as the words left my mouth, I was like, why?
Yeah, I mean
I was protecting her from the stigma, but why does
mhm,
the stigma exist? And that's Marcella and Rocky Horror confront that. They say, why is this? Why does she have to have tights? We're in
yeah.
2025. She's going to Florida.
Oh, don't wear tights, no.
But I
Cut
wanted
those
to
things right
save
off
her
your body.
from, this is her first conference, and I wanted to
Yeah.
save any
But
kind of
yeah, I
shame.
mean, I've done the same thing when students have asked me like, "What do I wear?" You dress like you're going to an interview, you know, like it's a professional conference. And like,
But even that's dressing like we're not really women. We wear
yeah,
the jackets
it
and
is.
we wear,
I had a conversation once with a colleague where we were talking about this issue, and I said that it's so much more difficult to get dressed as a woman who teaches
oh,
than it is as a man, because I have to think about, it's not just like, is this a nice outfit, but like, is this appropriate? Students are just staring at you,
they are. You
and
are Rocky Horror Picture Show in that
you
instance.
have to be a certain way. And there's aspects, and I've done papers on theology and materials, like with fashion and clothing and presentation and stuff like that. And like the way that we understand how we present ourselves is huge in terms of what we believe about bodies, what we believe about, um, you know, appropriate behaviors or dress or whatever. But also, like, a lot of it is imposed. Like,
Yeah. And
I
that's,
don't think,
you
you
see,
know,
you see that with Brad and Janet is like the second they met
yeah,
someone who wasn't so like straight and narrow, like I said, it took one night and they were done.
One night. Well, and two, it's like, how come their relationship I mean, obviously, like, any relationship would probably be put through the ringer after that specific night, but
They
but,
were
like
they would just be like, "Yeah, I did it. It's fine." Who knew? Everybody. Sorry,
but,
Stuart.
it's one of those, it's one of those things where it's like, if your whole relationship kind of crumbles because
Mm.
you were in your underwear around some extraterrestrials, like, there's good questions I think that Rocky Horror brings up about how we understand ourselves and how we understand our behaviors and what is decency and what is not decency, which is exactly what Marcella is always talking about. Like, what does it mean to do theology decently? And two, and the same professor who taught that Christology class always said that if Jesus isn't scandalizing you, then you don't understand him.
Yeah,
And I feel like, again, this is the same thing, like, theology should scandalize you, it should make you uncomfortable sometimes, and it should, you know,
absolutely. And
liberate like
absolutely.
Rocky Horror did.
Like,
Yeah,
and actually, how
actually liberate.
did you feel after I was like, I wanted to buy all the outfits. I wanted to
Oh
get
my god, I wanted it to be my whole personality. We
I
went in Glasgow
maybe
once.
it's still my whole person.
A bunch of us went in Glasgow, and it was my friend Dave's first time going, and we made him dress as Brad, um,
Amazing.
because it was appropriate,
Mhm.
and it was just the greatest. We had the greatest night.
I have a pic of
Um
Stuart as Frankenfurter. I'll ask if I can post it, but it's glorious. And the fact that he had to find he wears like a size like 10 or 11 or something, and guys,
He had to find some
he had to
heels for
find
that
the
part.
heels. We had to go to the thrift shop and be like, and then when we found them, I was like, that is definitely a drag queen heel.
Mhm.
I know, because they're just
Fantastic.
giant clogs of a heel. Because I was like, "You can wear mine," and he just stared at me, and I was like, "Oh, no, no, you can't. I'm sorry."
Yeah,
But yeah, I think there is a real, theological connection there, and I think she's really advocating for the people on the margins, but she's also saying that we actually are just repressing ourselves, and not in a and she's quick to say all these people who say to repress yourself makes you sort of a moral being. She's saying, no, that doesn't actually make you moral. It just makes you shameful. And actually, that's
mhm,
different because we all have this stuff that's there. Some people are more sexual or more affected by gender issues than others, but it doesn't mean that this isn't a big part of who we are. And the fact that it's so important to culture, society, religion to suppress this part of us that is literally like I cannot I look down. I can't wake up and not know that this is my body. Like I
right,
wake up and it's my body, and sometimes it's my knee, but annually it is all the women parts of me that want to rebel and poison me and kill me. You know?
yeah,
So this fact that we're just constantly like, well, if you're a good Christian, then you don't get divorced, or if you're a good Christian, you don't have premarital sex, or if you're this whatever. It's like, okay, well, we'll just suppress all of this stuff. And how's it going, by the way?
right,
How
yeah.
are we
I
doing
mean,
at
let's
that?
talk about that in historically, like, throughout, or, like, how really Gnostic it is too, to say that your body is somehow evil,
Hmm.
and it's only like, that whole that horrible line of, like, "I'm not a body with a soul, I'm a soul with a body." No, you're both things. They
Yeah.
both are important. Again,
We're here
Jesus
for a
is
reason.
like, we were made human with bodies for a reason, and our bodies are important
And they're
to
always
who we
not.
are.
Like, we
And
can't,
yeah, like, you
I mean,
can't pretend like your body is somehow just this evil thing that's because I mean, honestly, I'm gonna say this super tongue in cheek, so please know that, but, like, the Bible is clear that your bodies are still important and that, God intended to create a physical world, not just a spiritual world.
and
So
people who argue about the trans stuff, that's like, well, God made you need to take a class. God made you the way you are, so you shouldn't change. You need to take a class on sexuality, and gender, and see some of the actual. You love your science stuff, so take a look at the stats on that. Like
Yeah.
what we're actually born with, and it's not. So what
It's
about
not
the intersex people? What do you do?
it's not as black and white
What
as
did
people
God
want it
want
to be.
for those people?
Yeah.
Which one? What do you?
Well, and how many other things? I'm wearing contacts right now. Is that out of line with
I'm
God's
about it.
plan? Because
You
he
became
made
a blob.
God
Just
made me super blind and I should just bump into everything.
I should
Like
have 7 million babies by now. No less. More. 7 million. Oh my
like, just
god.
truly,
And I
it's
appreciate that the most about her theology is like it is quite over sexualized, but it is also talking about the human condition and how
yeah.
under sexualized what she would call decent theology is, which is again the theology that's been accepted by the system.
Mhm.
And as soon
And
as
she really started a, movement of
Mhm.
especially women, because all the examples I can think of at this moment are women, but writing theology and including sexual aspects without feeling like, "Oh, we have to defend this," you know? Like, Marcella did a ton of work for us, and I'm forever grateful for her for doing that,
I am
you
too.
know?
There's a
Yeah.
reason I'm writing the book that I'm writing on conversion therapy. And,
Mhm.
little 16-year-old Leah in the Southern Baptist Church would not have written about that. Because
No,
if it was
no.
go straight to hell, we did have that. There was a lot of hell talk. So, you know,
Yeah.
uh, but yeah, so I think, sorry, sorry about that. Um, but yeah, I think she's got a lot to say, and it would have been a great. This is what the paper would have been like.
I
It
know, it
was
would have been great.
Rejection.
I do
It
hope
had some great quotes too.
I do hope sincerely that the Rocky Horror panel is good and that they do a showing of Rocky Horror because I genuinely want to go to a Rocky Horror showing with a bunch of academics because I feel like that is gonna be where we shine as human beings. Like, everyone's gonna be really into it, and it's gonna be a good way of, like, bonding with our fellow
Well, and I think that's
theologians.
it. You feel such a sense of like, well, one, you're all half naked, which is already disarming, and that's
Mhm.
fine. But you're not naked in sort of. I mean, it can be a sexual way. Like, I, yeah, you can't get around it somehow sometimes. Um, but also it's more just like everyone's on the same page. It's like everyone is just, and yeah, there is just a sense of freedom at running around and screaming slut. Like it's honestly it's anarchy in a different way. It's like sexual
Yeah,
anarchy. It's
yeah,
like rioting and raging against the machine, except you're doing it with your boobs and not a hammer on
yeah,
glass.
yeah. Boobs and heels and fishnet stockings, which are my favorite, and glitter and sequins and leather jackets.
I'm gonna try I'm gonna
It's a
try
great
Oh, it's great. I'm gonna try to find a really good quote in all the stuff that I'm reading, um, because I feel like we need to end with um, okay. The first one that popped up is well, there's one of her key quotes is all theology is sexual theology, and decent theology is sexier than most, which is awesome. But I do love this. Only in the longing for a world of economic and sexual justice together and not subordinated to one another can the encounter with the divine take place.
I love that.
I love that too.
I love that.
So, RIP to Marcella.
R.I.P.
We will keep the
Marcella.
memory alive. And
Yes.
meanwhile, we'll be time warping all over the place.
I'm so excited about it. Yeah, I love it. Thanks for this was great. I'm so glad even if it was a rejected paper that we still get to experience it and especially like have a chat about it because I love these ideas. So
You have an idea of which one
yeah.
you're going to do?
I think I do. I think I know what one I'm gonna do. It's the one that got rejected last year. It was last year, yeah. And I was it,
You don't have to say it out loud.
I was like, well, I have to look to find it because it was over a year
Are you
ago.
also locked out of AAR?
No,
Maybe
because
maybe fuck Carl Bart was a step too far. Kick me out.
I it's saved, but I don't have my laptop at the moment because it's being repaired. Um, but it is saved on there. But it's on a book that I'm obsessed with and
Ooh, I'm
want
excited.
everyone to read. So it's gonna be great. But yeah. Yeah.
Amazing. And we have
Okay.
our guys, just so you know, we have our Patreon. Um,
We are doing our book club for The Parable of the Sower on July 9th.
do
So
you still
if
have
you
time?
you have lots of time to get the book, to read the book, to join the Patreon. We have our winner of the giveaway, Matt, who's going to be
Yeah.
joining us this time. So it's going to be an even bigger group.
Yeah.
I'm really excited about it.
I have not
Um,
started, but I'm going to. I
I
was
haven't yet either, but it's sitting right there. I can see it.
yeah, my bad. Um, someone put up the book you wanna read, the book that you're thinking about, and then the fun book, like, on
Oh
Instagram.
yeah, yeah, Nick.
Yeah, Nick did, and I was like, "Yep,"
Yep.
and also 3 more that are
Yes.
there.
Yes.
So,
Yes. Yeah. All
alright,
right.
guys. Well,
We'll see you.
yeah.
Thanks. We'll see you next week. Bye.